Hey, good morning to everyone. Welcome to another edition of Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. Broadcasting live once again from the DFW, that is Dallas Fort Worth. Just for all who wants to know, and we're very excited to be back with y'all on this great Saturday morning. Of course, we know we're about to be out of June, going into the month of July, which is next weekend, I believe. So we hope everybody had a great month of June, here to go into the 7th month, 2023. And just one thing, man, just mastering everything, accomplish things you really want to accomplish. A lot of times you have to sit down, reflect on where you want to be, where you want to go, and whatever your mission is. I'm very excited once again. Like I said, I'm Furman Jackson. I'm the host of Walking This Way. And I have Marty King with me here this morning to talk about mental health. How are you doing this morning? And thank you for taking time on your productive schedule to talk about this important
I'm
matters that's
fine.
very dear to you on mental health. And I know you have an event coming up in the month of September, correct? Dealing on mental health. Let
Yeah.
the audience know what the event is all about. And I know you really want to talk about mental health, so the platform is yours.
Well, thank you for having me. I am Armentee King, and I created "Don't Mess with My Mental." Will be a tour. I will start September 30th here in Dallas, and then I will tour other cities. And I'm just working on some things from that. And as being a nurse, I've been seeing a lot of stuff on social media, on TV, of people, committing suicide because of the mental health. And people have a fear of letting people know that they have a mental health. It's a stigma out there, like you can't tell people. The thing that really hit me when I seen that the guy called Switch, he's a dancer. He's a real popular dancer. He was a DJ on Ellen show, and after I seen him, he had committed suicide. Everybody was shocked by it. It just shocked the nation that this man, he's so happy and outgoing and bubbly and did so much things in the community and dance. People were shocked that he committed suicide. And then it's close to me because I'm a nurse. Plus, I have someone, my daughter, that's close to me. We had to admit her into a facility 2 days ago. So it's really, really shocking to me that it's so many people that's dealing with mental health. And so I had reached out to you just to talk about it and let people be aware of it, that you don't have to suffer in silence. You can reach out to somebody, family member. I got to get up because this light keep going out. Um, and reach out. Let me get this light back on. Um, Reach out to someone that can help you, and I did when I really started doing my research. It's 300 million people that's dealing with this. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And the main one is depression. So a lot of people get depressed, and then it can go into psychosis. It can go into a lot of different things, and that's what I really experienced by watching my daughter. Um, I don't want to tear up, but just seeing my daughter go through this, like, it just touched me so hard, and it was devastating to me to see her go through this. And they had to put her into a mental facility here in Dallas. And so we really can't talk to her. We can't visit her. Only thing I can do is just pray and ask God to help her get her mind together. And so it's so many people that's suffering in silence, and they don't want to say anything because they feel like if somebody know they have it, they might judge them. They could lose their job, their friends. And I'm just here to tell you, you can tell somebody, reach out to somebody, because it's going to get worse before it can get better if you just suffer in silence and not tell anybody. Some people don't want to take the medication, but like my daughter, she kind of like stopped taking it. And then we just started seeing her talk out of her head, like stuff that wasn't even reality, that was just in her mind. But, we still try to make her understand, okay, no, that's not true, but, it just went from down that she was okay to just doing stuff, and my daughter's like, Mama, watch her. And I watched her, and I was just like, there's nothing else as a nurse that I could do for her, but just, call some people and get them to help her. So the thing about mental health is a lot of people just It's like I said again, suffer in silence. And this is the reason why I want to do Don't Mess with My Mental. It's because we want to get people to aware that you can tell somebody, you can call somebody. I don't care if it's your mom, dad, brother, sister. If you don't have nobody, go call some people that can help you. And the one thing somebody asked me, what causes mental health issues? It could be a childhood abuse, something trauma that happens to you. Um, it could be your social life. It could be depressed. People get poverty can cause you to have a mental illness. Just living in poverty or just stressing over your bills and stuff. So me as being a nurse, I never let the cares of the world and family and friends and anything mess with my mental, because you have to try to keep that impact. Even if you do have problems with bills and family issues, marriage, jobs, different things, don't let it mess with your mental, because if you starting letting it mess with that, that's when it starts to call goes into depression and you start having anxiety. And it's so many people that has this. I feel so bad for Kanye West because this man is just he not even getting the help that he needs. He just out there. And I know what the trauma was when he lost his mom. I had trauma as well. But I talk to somebody. Crying helps. Not keeping that stuff bottled. See, a lot of people keep stuff bottled in and they
Right.
don't want to tell nobody. But when you start keeping that stuff bottled in, then it really start messing with your mental. So that's why I tell people it's good to cry. It's good to just scream out, and just get some help. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this tour, because I was like, oh my God, it's because if you looked at the news the other day, I looked at the news. Um, it was a young lady. She was in college, and her mom. She was a cheerleader. She would help everybody. She was smiling, happy. And next thing you know, they called her mom and said your daughter had committed suicide, and she was a young girl. And then I looked at Dr. Phil, and they had just did a series of it. That college students were committing suicide in parents' life. I didn't think nothing wrong. She's always happy. She's always outgoing. And that's what you don't know. You can sit there in front of me right now and I can just be smiling and happy and going good, doing everything good. But then when I go home, I'm suffering in silence because I'm scared to tell somebody that
Right.
I have a mental illness or I'm going through something or I'm dealing with depression or whatever. Because people do judge you. But don't let that
True.
stop you from reaching out. So some things that I really wanted to discuss even more is that you have facilities. If you're from here, from in Dallas, is a lot of facilities here that can help you. You can always go to mental health services. It's 24-hour services. So if you're going through some mental break, you can get on the phone and call. They are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. And at the end of this, I will give you the number that you guys can call if you need some help. But I really appreciate you. I've been on here with you a couple of times talking
Right.
about different issues. And some of the main things, if you have a person that's around you, it could be your mom, your dad, your friend, your sister, your brother. If you see them being sad or, they don't have lack of energy, or they lose interest. They was a football player or a basketball. They did something. You just see them lose interest in just in life. They withdraw from the family. They have negative thoughts or anxiety or low self-esteem. Them are signs of mental health issues that they can have, because that's what I see my daughter, like, she'll be sad or she just withdraw herself from the family. She just go in the room and we be like, we have to go in and get her and say, come and eat. It gets so far as they don't eat, they sleep all day. They don't even take care of their hygienes because they just so depressed.
Hmm.
So these are some signs. So if you ever see anybody, friends or anybody that displaying these signs, you really need to just talk to them and help them, because that's a sign of they going into a type of mental illness. Um, so I see this a lot, but I didn't know it was 300 million. That's a lot of people. that's dealing with depression. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't know who's doing it, but because people have made it so bad for people to even say, man, I'm depressed. You know, people will judge you, like saying bad stuff. Like Kanye West, they say so much negative stuff about him. His wife tried to help him when he was married to Kim, but I just know he had that trauma. Sometimes when you're close to your parents like that, your mom, like I was so close to my mom, like it was like devastating to lose my mom, but I still had to kind of like, okay, she's in a better place. She's not suffering anymore. But still, that mental, you have to stay focused on it. I'm telling you, if you don't stay focused on your mental health, you could step into depression. You could step into having anxiety. But I just really like thank you for having me on here and to talk about it, because it was just something just weighing so hard on my heart. I'm fine. I'm dealing with it every day. I'm dealing with somebody that has mental health, and it's not a good thing. It's really could cause somebody to kill themselves because they feel like they don't have nobody. They don't have nobody to reach out to, especially if you're a loner. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ain't gonna say. You got doctors and lawyers dealing with this, but you think they want to tell somebody, oh, you might can't try your cases if you depressed. So that's the reason why a lot of people suffer in silence. I think about Robert Williams. He hung himself. He hung himself. And this was a famous actor. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people all the time, anybody can deal with this stuff. But you gotta know, go out there and talk and do things. Don't stay in the house. Try to keep yourself active and keep your mind focused. So I just thank God every day that I should be in some mental place myself, because I've been through so much trauma in my life. I was raped as a kid. I was raped as an adult. And then I went into the foster system at a young age, but I always prayed. I always asked God to keep my mental. I always asked him that if anything go wrong, even when I did with cancer, I still ask God to help my mental, because that's a really bad state when you have cancer and you just don't know if you're gonna make it. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? And when I first found out I didn't tell nobody. Nobody knew I had cancer. And I was just still going to work, smiling. Everybody said, "Hey, Miss King, how you doing? You just so bubbly all the time." And I was suffering. I was suffering with cancer because I just didn't want them to be making me feel like, "Oh, she got cancer." Oh, I didn't want people to be like that with me. So I just wanted to be myself. But as time got on, it got worse. And then I started losing weight, and then people started really seeing. And then when I fell and hit my head, and I couldn't get up to call anybody. I just laid there. And thank God my daughter called my neighbor, my landlord, and he came and he found me and called the paramedics. So my daughter's like, no, you can't stay here by yourself. So a lot of trauma that I've been through, I just always went to counseling. And that's another thing. As African Americans, we don't believe in counseling. Our parents are, oh, you strong, you be all right. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was raised. Don't go. We don't have to go to counseling. I hear a lot of African Americans say, "Oh, I don't go to counseling. I don't do that." We have to. There's nothing wrong with sitting down talking to somebody of some of the traumas that you have been through in your life, and that will help you. Some women get abused. Even men get abused. People like, a man getting abused by a woman. Yes, we have men out there. That's why we have so many men that have so much trauma on them and depression on them, because they've been abused. And men will stay in abusive relationship longer than a woman will. Women will get out and go somewhere else. But these men will stay because they love the woman, they got kids. So they'll stay into this abuse. But then once they get out, this right here is already kind of damaged. Their mental is already kind of damaged if they don't go and try to get some kind of help to help their mental. And most of the time, men don't do that. Most of the men don't even want to go to the doctor. You get what I'm saying? Because men was taught, you don't cry, you strong, you don't do this. And some of us as African American, we was taught we don't have to go to counseling. No, God got you. Yeah, God do have us, but He put people down here on earth to help us, physically. So I just want to thank you for letting me come on here and talk about this, and let's really get this awareness out. You know what I'm saying? You have a platform where you can really touch somebody. So we don't know how many people gonna look at Walking His Way, podcast. You know what I'm saying? It could get to millions, it could get to billions, but we can reach out to the people that we can. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I decided to do this platform. You know what I'm saying? And I am looking for people to travel with me to do this tour, so we can really put out the information that we need to put out to really pull people in. I am trying to find doctors, I'm trying to find counselors, I'm trying to find even people that's physically dealing with mental health, that was down and now they back up, they got themselves up. So we can really get this out there because it's so many people. I was just stunned to see how many people is dealing with depression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, and has mental health issues, and it's 300 million. I was like, oh my god, I didn't think it was going to be that many when I started really just digging into doing my research on everything. But if there anybody out there that's dealing with mental health, we do have a health service here in Dallas, 24 hours, like I said, counseling hotline if you need to talk to somebody. And you can text them at 988 to, if you need help. And the number is 1-800-273-8255. And this is 24 hours and it's 7 days a week. So if you don't have nobody that you can talk to, you can call these numbers that I gave you on this podcast. And I know Mr. Furman gonna put this number out there on this podcast, so you guys can call if you just want to talk to somebody. They have counselors there 24 hours, 7 days a week for you guys can talk to. It's personal, but you reaching out to somebody. I mean, if you don't want to tell your family, your loved ones, you can call that number and talk to somebody, because the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Because then you start having psychosis, then you start having, talking to yourself. Because my daughter was just laying there just talking to herself. And we was like, who's she talking to? And then next thing you know, she went into a seizure, and I had to jump up, call my daughter, like, hey, call the paramedics. And they took her, and then they had to admit her. And I wasn't afraid for them to admit her. It's just when you admit somebody into the mental health facilities,
Mm-hmm.
you can't talk to them. You can't see them, until they feel like that person's head is kind of, their mental is kind of clear enough to say,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I want my mother, I want my sister to come. So only thing we can do now is just pray for her until, the facility call us and let us know we're able to come see her. So it's just amazing. I'm just praying. That's the only thing I can say. I'm just praying. I mean, I know I'm a very advocate for mental health. I dabbled in a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's. I really dealing with them right now. That's my passion. But mental health have always been a thing that I really wanted to do. I really want to open a mental health facility to help teens. My passion is more dealing with the teenagers because they deal with it. We all deal with mental health, but I want to really reach out to the younger people because they deal with so much stuff. It's so much stuff on social media and stuff like that that
Right.
get the kids so riled up. So I really thank you for allowing me to be on here and to be on your platform again. Probably for this was like my fourth time. For my
I
fourth
appreciate
time
you.
trying to get on here. And I am also working on my own podcast. I've been,
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of issues, but I got all my equipment. I've just been ordering my equipment first
Okay.
and trying to get everything together. And once I move, get my own place and stuff, I'm ready to do it. But
Well,
me, I want to do it big. I want a studio. So
mm-hmm.
that's what I'm pushing for. So I can actually have guests come to the studio and we talk.
Oh yeah, and like I said, that's what it's all about, and that is a great work that you're doing. I know you have the tour coming up in September 30th. I'm going to ask you that, Tess, as you a parent and your daughter with mental health. We know it does take patience because I work in the facility myself, where we deal with people that's incarcerated, mental health. A lot of them homeless. If you go downtown Dallas, you see a lot of them homeless talking to themselves, fighting with
Mm-hmm.
themselves,
Yeah.
and we know that we don't. And because I'm like I told, I'm from Alabama, and I remember it used to be a mental health facility, surgery hospital. They shut it down. Then they just start sending these people to jail, which jail cannot help mentally ill people
Yeah. That's it.
because they're not properly, as whatever, we're not properly trained to deal with that. But I want to ask you a question: what tools that we need as you being a parent and your daughter dealing with that? What tools that we need in place to help us understand, like the Bible tells us, with all thy getting, let's get a good understanding. So, how can we learn from this so we can do better when it comes to a loved one or someone we may be dealing with on a regular basis?
Sometimes we see our kids and we be like, oh, they just they're a type of kid like to stay in their room. But if you have a kid or an adult that's always withdrawn from everybody, don't socialize with everybody, you need to really stay focused on them because they could be dealing with mental health issues and you
Mm-hmm.
just don't know. But you do have a lot of people that's very outgoing and you wouldn't even know they dealing with it. You wouldn't even have a clue they dealing with it. But it would start showing effect because at first she was fine. When we brought her here, she was fine. And then she started telling these stories, which we knew wasn't true. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I kept saying, okay, well, I called my friend that's what she does every day. And she said, you don't want to play along with her, but you want to let her know, okay, that's not accurate. That's not true. And we just kind of kept her focused on that. And then once we got her on her medicine, we got her medicine and everything, she was taking it. She ran out. We got some more. And it's just like she just doing crazy stuff. And that's when I told her, I said, no, this is real. This stuff is real. I mean, like she was sitting outside and she was just doing like this and just doing stuff. And my daughter was like, Mama, look what she doing. So I just watched her, and I just was writing down stuff. Then I brought her inside and then she was just talking to herself. I'm thinking she's asleep, because I know I had an auntie used to talk in her sleep. So, I didn't think nothing of it. And then she just started seizing. And so I had to jump in for she wouldn't swallow her saliva. And we called the paramedics. And most time when you go into Dallas, out here in Dallas, you go to the hospital and they do a assessment on you and they feel that either you can go home or you got to go to the mental facility. So they said
Mm-hmm.
she needed to go to the mental facility. And they said that she thought she had thoughts of suicide and she had thoughts of hurting somebody else. And so I told my daughter, we started crying because I said, hey, it done got real serious. So to deal with somebody that's close to you have mental health problems, and then you have friends that you can reach out to that's having the same thing, is a toll on you. But that's why my people ask me, how do you keep your mind like that? Like you've been through so much trauma. I sit there and watch 18 people die. 18 people died. And it just was like, oh my God. And all I had to do was just keep praying, just asking God to keep me sane, my mind. Because
Right.
it's a trauma to see 18 people just die, during the pandemic. That's the reason why I stopped doing the hospitals and nursing homes and stuff. And I decided to do in-home care and go to the facilities. And just dealing with people with dementia is almost the same thing. I have a guy right now has dementia. And 1 minute he know that's his son, and 1 minute he know who I am. I'm Miss King, and then the next day he look at me and is like, "Who are you?" And then one guy he thought I was his girlfriend. Like I said, "No, I'm your nurse. I'm your caregiver." And he was like, "Oh, you my queen." And I'm looking at him like, okay. So, sometimes you have to like play along with them and so they won't get so riled up. And then sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to say, no, I'm not your girlfriend. And he got so far with it, man, took his clothes off. I had to call the
Mm-hmm.
daughter, like, hey, your daddy taking his clothes off. And I just had to just bring him back, Then if I come back the next day, he'd be like, who are you? I said, I'm Miss King. That's how bad it is, when you dealing with dementia and mental health. It's hard to see it's like the son is like he want to just run out the room and just cry when he sees his dad sometimes. And I say, I'm so sorry that you have to go through it because some days he know that's his son, and some days he don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like when his wife used to visit, he was like, who was that? I said, that's your wife. I ain't got no wife. I ain't never been married. Then the wife would just tear up and I said, I'm sorry, and I said, well, come back another day. He probably remember. So it's just something I've been doing that for 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with dementia and stuff like that. And then I just really got into mental health. I just kicked in and started doing that. And I always wanted to do a tour, but I just never just, push myself to do it. But my daughter was like, Mom, I think it's time for you to go ahead and just start doing this because it's so many people that you can help that can understand, like, hey, I got this, but you know what? I'm still a good person. See, people start thinking like that. Because the guy said, I think people gonna look at me bad and they're gonna say, oh, he crazy. I don't want him to sell me no house, or I don't want him to do my finance. He can't even keep his head right. So that gets on in their mind, and so they don't want to say nothing. Okay, you don't have to tell nobody, but go on a 1-800 number and call and talk to a counselor and tell them you having problems and stuff and get the medicine or whatever they help you with, get it done instead of not doing it at all. And then they really get bad and then you want to kill yourself. Because that's when majority of the people that I've been doing research on, that's what they have done. They just got to a point where it was too much stress on them. The college students, is so many college students right now is killing themselves. And I was like, wow, that's not good. And nobody talks about mental health. I don't hear too many people talking about it on TV. I don't hear it. And so people don't know. So hopefully by doing this podcast and me continue to go on social media and talk about it, maybe we can get some help. Maybe we people can say, hey girl, I'll jump on your tour. Hey, I'll sponsor your tour. Hey, let's get it out there so people can understand. Same thing with cancer and everything. I have a guy that has just found out he has HIV. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to kill himself. He wants to mentally, like, I don't want to be here. He just basically told me, Miss King, I don't want to be here. I'm never gonna have kids. I'm never gonna be able to have a woman or be with somebody who gonna want to be with me now that I'm infected. And keep telling him, you still can have a good life. Look at Magic Johnson. He still have a good life. And he have HIV. But it hits their mental. It hits their mental. Who wants to have, HIV and not be able to have? My son has HIV. It took me a long time to get him where he is now. And like, Mama, I don't think I'm gonna ever have kids. I said, you can have kids. You just gotta keep doing it. And people don't know you can go take the medication and be undetected. And people don't even, you don't even, they take your blood, they don't even see that you have it, and it mess with his mental. I'm still dealing with him with his mental, and people are like, God, you got a lot on your plate. But I said, that's all right because God gives me the strength to do this. And he already done told me, this is your assignment. So when God give me an assignment, I have to go. I have to push through to do it. So now this is my new assignment, is going out, putting things out there in the atmosphere, in social media, wherever platform that I can get on to push this mental illness. People have mental illness, don't even know they have it. Let me get this light back on. But this light keeps going out. I don't know why they got this light on a timer. It's like I'm in the little office. But
Okay.
so this is I'm just glad that you allowed me to come on here and to
Right.
talk about this.
Okay.
And we need to talk about it more. Walk in Your Way podcast. You need to just promote this. and really talk about it. I don't care if you talk about it every segment you put on, just 5 minutes of telling somebody, hey, if you got mental illness, get yourself out there and go see somebody because
Right.
it's bad. That's another reason why I wanted to do a podcast and get a platform where I can really talk about it more. You know what I'm saying? Every time I do a podcast, I'm gonna talk about it because it's gonna cross somebody's social media platform and they're gonna see it and then they can get the help they need.
Right. I mean, it's there to help. I mean, it's there in place, and I'm glad that you all bring this to the forefront because it is much needed. And we know this it is happening every day. It's happening every day, and it's good that
Every
we
day.
are addressing the elephant in the room. That's especially if you get involved with somebody. You always want to know the ins and outs of the person you're involved with. You mentioned
Yeah.
some earlier about sexual assault. People being sexual assault. I mean, I don't say people, but some individuals may have been sexual assaulted. Some individuals been physically assaulted. But we know that this stuff is important. And you mentioned something about
Yeah.
judges. People don't want to
You
be
you
judged,
have
and I know.
people you have people that's been, I say rape because I can testify for that. And it happens to you and you're scared. You scared to tell people because people gonna judge you. So you keep it to yourself.
Hmm.
That is going to affect your mental so bad because you're going to start having anxieties. You're going to be depressed. People, every time you walk around, come outside, somebody say something to you, you're going to get scared. You know what I'm saying? My first experience happened to me in college. So I didn't tell anybody because I was ashamed. I think people going to judge me. And so, but I eventually, after I graduated from college, I went and got some help because I knew it was going to start affecting me. And then
Hmm.
as an adult, I used to work for United Airlines, and somebody hit me from the back, and I got out the car, and next thing you know, the guys grabbed me and threw me in the car.
Mm.
I'm screaming and hollering, and then they punching me, telling me to be quiet. So I just shut up. I didn't say anything. And I was sexually assaulted, by three guys, and that traumatized me so bad. But I went back to what my grandma always told me, pray about it because it gonna tear you up inside.
Hmm.
And then when it was time for me to identify the people that raped me, I just froze. I just couldn't do it. I just said, I don't want to do it. I'm done. They called me 101 times. I just didn't do it. But I went and took care of my mental because I knew it was going to affect me down the line. It was going to affect my life, me getting married, me having kids. And I was a young woman then. I didn't even
Right.
have kids, so I just had to get my mental together. And so all the things that had happened to me, you know, I just didn't let it affect my mind. And my sister always say, you just never been messed up like we are, And I was like, girl, don't say that. And I don't take medication like a lot of people. I know I'm a nurse. I know they put you on that medication to keep this money thing. It's a money thing in
Yeah, it
out there in
is.
the
It really is.
medical industry now. So it's not about trying to help you get to another level or get you well. It's about keeping you where they want you so you can keep coming back. So
True.
I overcome that as well. So I should be loony somewhere, but I just prayed and took myself to counseling. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing wrong with going to counseling. That's another thing. As African American people, we don't go to counseling. We feel like, oh, we got it. I'm okay. I'm cool. No, you're not. You suffering in silence, and you need to talk to somebody. And
Yep.
sometimes you tell somebody something, they go back and tell everybody. So
True.
you have to trust the person that you telling your personal information to. So
That's
like I
true.
said, go call the 1-800 number, and I want to give that number out again. It's the crisis hotline here in Dallas. Is You can text it at 988, and the number is 1-800-273-8255, and it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So any issue that you might have, just call and just get you some help. Thank you
That's
for
true.
having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you and stuff. I know about great to get off the air. Go ahead and plug. I know you got the upcoming event in September, so go ahead and plug that
So I
again.
have Don't Mess With My Mental tour. It's going to be like a fashion and a workshop, because
Okay.
I always got to
Okay.
put my fashion in there. And it's September 30th, and it's going to be here in Dallas. I'm looking for a venue now with me and my friend. That's what I got to do when I get off this podcast. I have to go
Okay.
meet the person to look at a venue. I am looking for speakers. That's the main thing I'm looking for. I don't want to be just the only person up there speaking. So I am looking for other people that can, if you're into mental health, that'll be awesome. If you had mental issues and you God help you and you got better, we looking for you too. We just looking for people to want to go out and promote this tour. It's going to be 5 cities. I'm only going to do 5 cities at first, and then I want to branch out and do more. I am looking for
Okay.
sponsors. I'm looking for everything, to really get this out there. But I'm gonna start here in Dallas. I'm
Okay.
probably gonna do Houston. I'm gonna do San Antonio. I'm gonna do in the local areas, and then I'll start branching
Mm-hmm.
out to other cities. But if you do want to be part of it, you can go to Arementee J Couture. Arementee Pretty Face is my Facebook, or you can go to my email is armenteeprettyright at gmail.com, or you can call me at 817-696-3257. That's my business number. You can contact me there if you're interested in jumping on this tour and you have interested in doing the mental health tour. And that's it.
That's what's
Thank
up
you.
right there. I know you got. No, I thank you for taking time in your productive schedule to come on. I know we've been talking about you come back on, and we finally made it happen. So I'm thrilled to have you back
Yeah.
on here this morning.
I thought you
And I know you got to
was
get.
I thought you was tired of me.
There you go. I ain't. There
I
you
said I've been
go.
on here. I said I've been on here 3 or 4 times.
Nah, no, I can never get tired of you. I really appreciate you, and I know you got a productive
Yeah.
day ahead, of course. And I said we about to get off the air. I'll be back here. Be back here Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We'll be back prime time here on Walking This Way's Impact What's podcast. It's a beautiful day outside, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas, you know how the heat is. The heat is crazy, and I think
Oh yeah.
a guy lost his life. I think he was a postal worker. He had lost his. He died from I think from the heat. The other day that
Oh
was on the
God.
news here in Dallas. So if
Yeah.
y'all out there, stay
Stay
hydrated,
cool.
stay cool. The heat is crazy. It is out here. And I enjoy living in Texas, but the heat is crazy. So y'all stay hydrated. Still stay warm. I mean, yeah, hey, stay warm, but stay cool. Stay hydrated. Make sure you got plenty of water as well. Just stay cool and protect not just yourself, your loved ones as well. Also, because this heat is crazy. I think it's gonna be up to the hundreds. I feel like probably like 200 outside. Be how it
Yeah,
is.
it's hot. It's hot. I'm finna get ready to go out there too.
Tonight here on Walking This Way Impact World Podcast. Amar, do you have anything you want to leave? Do you have any?
Just get yourself some help. Don't suffer in silence. Somebody is always there to help you. And remember, you can call the 1-800 number 24/7, 7 days a week to just talk to somebody. Don't suffer in silence. You have people here for you. That's it. Peace.
Invest in yourself, and most importantly, be great at all that you do. I am Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast, and I will be back here Tuesday night at 7 p.m. here on Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast. Peace, everybody.